we come together to learn, and I'm really excited to introduce y'all to our neighbor, Sharon Gilbert. Sharon is a retired psychotherapist. She's got 28 years of clinical experience in different settings, including community agencies, psychiatric hospitals, and corrections facilities and private practice. And in addition to her clinical work, she's been teaching as an adjunct professor for over 21 years. So this is a very great example of the glory that is Tuesday Group. We get to receive a world-class college-level education from our neighbor and our friend for free at the Granary Lodge. So please join me in welcoming Sharon to the podium.
I don't know about world class. Okay, should I assume this is on? Yeah. Okay, so can you hear me okay? No.
Cozy up to the microphone, or you can hold it if you want.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, good. Okay, have to get used to this. All right, so that's me, Sharon Gilbert. And as Lacey said, I've taught and I have been a psychotherapist. The corrections, the jail story, those are the best stories, but we're not here to talk about that today. Those are the good ones, though. My students used to love those. Okay. Oh, I thought someone said they couldn't hear me. Okay. So we are going to start, and I have to warn you ahead of time, this is a very condensed presentation on a very broad subject. So we're just going to touch on things very quickly, because when I do presentations, I would rather have interaction and give you hands-on practice with things that you can take with you. So we will have some information in the first half, and then you will be doing things in the second half. This is being recorded, and I have no problem if anyone wants to record this as well, especially the final exercise that we do. I had a client, teenager who had cancer, which was very sad. And she had to undergo very, very painful treatments. And so we did the relaxation response in session, and she recorded it and then just played that back while she was getting the treatments. And it helped a little. They were very painful treatments. Okay, so we're going to start by addressing the whole issue of stress. What is stress? This is a term that people use a lot. You hear it a lot. I heard a lot of people joking as they came in. I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. So what is stress? Stress is change. It is the changes of everyday life that we go through. So everyone has stress, okay? It is not a good idea. It is not accurate to say I would like to be stress-free. The only people who are stress-free are people who have no change in their life day to day. That would be dead people. Things are relatively the same one day to the next, right? Okay, so the idea is to manage stress, not aim to be stress-free, but to manage stress. So let's go through, make sure I'm doing this the right way. Okay, so there are two different kinds of stress. Do you have a handout? They don't have the slides, do they? Okay, that's okay, that's okay. So there are two different kinds of stress. The first kind is known as eustress. This is good stress, things that we wanted to have happen, but they were a change and we had to get used to it. We had to deal with it anyway. Retirement, if you wanted to retire. Going on vacation. How many times have you heard people joke, I need 3 days off after my vacation to recover? The film festival was a wonderful thing, and you need about a week off to get everything back together. So it's good things, things we wanted, but nonetheless, it's a change and something that you had to adjust to. Distress is bad stress. These are the things we did not want to have happen, and we have to accommodate it. Having your furnace go out. I have not had heat since last Wednesday. My dog is very confused. He has to have his sweater on all the time. We're eating dinner in the den. He's looking at me like I have lost my mind. It's 30 degrees inside the house. Where here's tomorrow, get in the furnace tomorrow. If they don't, I will go there. I will install it myself. Okay. So distress is bad stress, but still change, things you have to get used to, things you have to, he has to wear a sweater, we have to eat in the den, we have to use space heaters. You work around it. Okay. So let's differentiate stress from worry from anxiety. And I can tell you that during the pandemic, this is a conversation we had a lot with a lot of clients. If I wear a mask, am I overreacting? If I stay 6 feet away, am I overreacting? If I stay in my house and never leave, am I overreacting? I had a client, young woman, was so afraid to go out of the house. I finally said, go out and take a walk. Just stay 6 feet away from everyone. She wouldn't leave her backyard. That's how worried she was about it. Okay. So stress, as we said, is change. Worry is thinking, predicting negative outcomes and then thinking about that, predicting that things will go badly. You never hear someone say that they're worried about an upcoming good thing. They're anticipating it, they're excited about it, but they're not worried about it. So worried has a negative connotation. And it's almost always things that have not happened yet. It's you predicting this negative outcome. Anxiety is a disorder. Anxiety is a disorder characterized by way over the top reactions to things and then precautions to other things. And I'm going to go into that in more detail. It's not a workshop on anxiety, but I will go into that in more detail. Okay, so I thought I heard my name. Okay, and if you have questions, by all means, just raise your hands. Okay, so why does it happen? Why does stress happen? You have a system in your brain called the fight or flight system. And people use this term all the time. You've probably heard about this. This is a very basic physiological reaction that you have in your brain to help you fight something that could be life-threatening. The thing about the brain is it's either on or off, 1 or 0, all or none. It doesn't get a little bit of worry or a little bit, it gets, oh, we're going to die. No, we're not going to die. It's just no, we're going to die. We're going to die. That's it. We're going to die. Okay. So the way fight or flight works is it's a series of physical changes that your body goes through to help you be prepared to defend yourself from or survive this encounter with this life-threatening thing. Okay, so we always say picture if you were facing a saber-toothed tiger, because you won't, because they're extinct. Okay, so what happens when you go through fight or flight? I'm going to go top to bottom. Your pupils dilate to let in more light so you can see the situation more clearly. Your mouth dries out because you just told your brain, I'm going to need the muscles in a minute and I might have to run. And your brain says, well, I don't want you choking on the saliva when you're running. So your mouth is going to dry out. You begin breathing more rapidly, but not deeply and slowly. So you're taking rapid, quick breaths. You have an adrenaline rush to the muscles. If you've ever had someone who thinks it's hilarious to hide around the corner and jump out at you when you walk by, and you feel that, like that jolt in your muscles, that's an adrenaline rush. You know, the best way to cure that, I found this out accidentally, if you just happen to have a glass of water in your hand, when they do that and your reaction is, oh, yeah, they won't do it anymore. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. So the adrenaline rush to the muscles and your heartbeat increases. It starts beating more quickly. You get an increase of stomach acid going through your stomach. Because again, you just told the brain, I'm going to need the muscles and I'm going to need to run. There's 3 things you cannot do at the same time. Think really hard, use your muscles, and digest food. If you've ever tried to work out too soon after eating, you know what I'm talking about. And digestion usually loses. So it dumps all this stomach acid into your stomach to quickly digest the food. Okay, get it out of there, get it out of there. If you have no food in your stomach, what does it digest? Your stomach lining. Yeah, that's how you get ulcers. Okay. So I'm going to use foul language. You've heard the term scared shitless. That is true. If it goes through and goes through enough, yes, that will be the result. I had a dog 2 dogs ago, Ginger, who was afraid of fireworks. It's the 4th of July. Now, my bad, I did not put her on the leash because I thought you're already afraid of fireworks. You're going to go out in the yard and do your business, come right back in the house where I am, where the other dog is, where you're safe, right? No, she heard a firecracker go off. And rather than go 10 feet back into the house, she ran 1.5 miles to the forest preserve. Came home about 4 hours later, bleeding. Took her to the vet, $1,000 later. The vet said she tangled with something and it tried to take her leg off and it almost did. So she comes out of the vet, wagging her tail, happy as can be. I'm like, idiot. The other dog's looking at her like, you're an idiot. And she is so wrapped up and bandaged. And I said to the vet, how is she gonna do her business? And the vet said, oh, this dog's not pooping for days. She dropped everything at the scene of the fight. This dog's on empty. So I don't know if that's, we talked quite a bit about poop last week at our meeting last week about the links. I don't know if that's to scare the enemy off, if that's because it smells bad and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna mess with you. I don't know. But it is true that you can get that scared. And if you are that stressed, you probably have digestive issues. Okay. The other thing that happens is the blood moves out of your arms and legs and into your torso, so that if you get attacked during the fight, you won't bleed to death. That's why you get cold hands and cold feet when you're really nervous. I had a student one time who was we were talking about this, and she said she had gotten mugged and the person had a knife and slashed her leg, her calf, and she was amazed at how little it bled. There you go, because the brain kicked in and said, oh, we're in trouble. Let's get the blood out of your arms and legs and into your trunk where you're more likely to survive. Okay, so if you've ever had a panic attack, this sounds strangely like a panic attack. Cold medicines and amphetamines will bring these same results. They are known as psychomimetic drugs. They imitate the part of the nervous system that accelerates everything. That's why people who are on amphetamines have eyes that look like olives. Their pupils are very dilated. They're bringing on this response. So when athletes are taking sinus medicine and asthma medicine and they get tested for drugs and they say, oh, you're taking speed. No, I'm not. I'm taking, but it does the same. It opens up your bronchial passages, makes it easier to breathe. That's what this reaction does, because you said you're going to need to fight. You said you're going to need to run. So it gives you all these options. Okay, now keep in mind, it's what your brain interprets as being dangerous. So say you're running late for work and your boss told you that if you're late one more time, that's it, you're fired. And there's a huge traffic jam. And now there is no way you're going to get to work on time. And so you start catastrophizing. You start awfulizing in your brain. What's going to happen? I'm going to lose my job. This is going to be awful. So you're sitting in traffic. Your mouth is dry. Your pupils are dilated. Your muscles are all tensed up. Your stomach is churning. You got no blood in your arms. Like, how is that helping? It's not. It's not. It's what your brain interprets to be dangerous. Now, if you're a soldier going into combat, a firefighter running into a burning building, someone who got mugged, this is a very good reaction to have. But for most people in everyday situations, we don't need this, okay? So the trick is you have to tell your brain, we got this. We're not in trouble. We're not in any danger. We're fine. We have been through worse. We can do this. And your brain will believe you. Okay. We know also that people who have anxiety as a disorder, their fight or flight is more easily triggered. It goes higher and it's harder to bring it back down. So we know this from neurological studies, okay? And in the sources afterwards, I have book called The Anxious Brain that if you are curious about anxiety, excellent, excellent book to read on that topic. Okay, so let's talk about the different ways that stress can manifest in the system, in your body. First of all is the immune system. So I'm going to really water this down. I've had psychiatrists say that it took them weeks and weeks of medical school to learn this, and you're going to get it in about 5 minutes. That's how sharp you are. Okay, so in your brain, you have what are called neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are brain chemicals. They send messages to each other, okay? There are excitatory neurotransmitters and there are inhibitory neurotransmitters. Excitatory neurotransmitters send the message, do more of that, keep going, that's it, do more. Inhibitory neurotransmitters send the opposite message. Quit doing that, stop it, let up on that, don't do that anymore, okay? For any neurotransmitter to send its message, there has to be a receptor site that is an exact fit for it. If there's not, it just floats around. It's one of the theories about why dreams are so weird. All those neurotransmitters floating around your brain that had nowhere to go. I'm not making that up, that's true. Okay, I will make up stuff, but I didn't make it up. So you have a receptor site and it has to be a perfect fit for the neurotransmitter being sent. This is how we discovered endorphins, because we found receptor sites for morphine, which is odd because morphine is a man-made chemical. So we're like, why would they? And then we discovered endorphins, okay? So what does your immune system do? What is its job? Prevent illness, right? Keep you healthy. Okay. You have receptor sites on your immune system for inhibitory neurotransmitters. Those inhibitory neurotransmitters are released when you're under a lot of stress. So that means you thought it was your imagination that you get sick more often when you're stressed. That is not your imagination. Those neurotransmitters are being released. They're going to your immune system and telling it, don't do that. Stop doing that. Don't do that. Don't fight illness. Don't prevent disease. That's why you get sick more often when you're under stress. Because that seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? That just seems like, well, how is that helping anything? Don't know. Don't know. There's I should have put this in the sources. There's a stress scale, the Holmes and Ray, Holmes and Rahe stress scale. This came out in the 60s, I think, or 70s. And it's a listing of different stressful events with a point value assigned to each one. So like death of a spouse is 100, divorce is like, I think 85, going to jail is, Christmas is on there. Happens every year, on the same date, it'd be different if it was different every year, because how often do you hear people say, it's already, yes, it's the same day every year, okay? But it's worth 11 points on the stress scale. So you check off all the events, it's like moving, starting a job, ending a job, surgery, any stressful event. So you go off and you check all the things that have happened to you in the last year and add up the stress points associated with it. And if you have 300 or more, you're highly likely to get sick that year, like colds and flu. I had a student one time had 9 fillings in 1 year after a particularly stressful year. So vacation is on there. Vacation is, I can't remember if that was more or less stressful than Christmas, but yeah, vacation is on there. Okay, so you've got these excitatory and inhibitory, and they're telling the immune system not to work. We did that. Okay, physical symptoms. And she didn't know I was going to do this, but I'm going to call out Jess. She'll back me on this. We just recently learned the brain is part of the body. We thought they were 2 separate entities. I'm not making that up. We just figured this out like in the last 10, 15, 20 years. Amazing. It used to be, some of you will remember this, mental health was separate from physical health on your health insurance plan. You had two separate deductibles, you had two separate copay, you had two separate, how many sessions could you have? Yeah, and then we said, Well, what we did is we went to the AMA and said, okay, we're gonna put a limit on the number of visits people can have with their physician. And the AMA said, no, you're not. And we said, okay, then don't do it. And they're like, okay, we're gonna help you on that. So physical symptoms like stomach problems, as we talked about, grinding your teeth, rashes, hives, herpes. People who have herpes have more outbreaks when they're stressed. Okay? That's the brain is part of the body. Just recently figured that out. Okay, short-term memory is affected when you're stressed. This is not your imagination. You're not losing it. I often joke, this is why God made little yellow stickies. Write it down. When you're under a lot of stress, write down every simple, stupid thing you need to do, okay? And then you'll remind yourself of it later. When things improve, you won't need to do that. But while you're under, just write stuff down. Just have some kind of reminder to write yourself down. Because if you do not take care of stress and you do not take care of these things happening, you will get gas. General adaptation syndrome. This is based on the work of Selye. And what this basically refers to is, well, ultimately burnout. Some people call it hitting the wall. Your body is built in such a way that when you put extra demands on it, it will say, okay, all right, we'll do that. We'll do that. Oh, I'm not eating well. That's all right. That's all right. We'll work around. I'm not sleeping enough. I'm pushing my, that's okay. That's okay. We'll keep up with it. I got to work hard. Okay. All right. We'll do it. If you've ever had to travel for work, you know what I'm talking about. People who don't travel for work think it's very glamorous to travel. It is not. You arrive in a city at 11 o'clock at night. You've never been there before. You didn't eat because you thought you were going to get there sooner. So now it's 11 o'clock and you're hungry. What are you going to have? I'll have some French fries. Oh, that's a good meal. That's really good. Or a donut, maybe. Yeah, because I don't want to eat a big meal. And then you wake up. I used to work in HR. You wake up and you got to find the plant at 3 a.m. to get there before the night shift ends to explain the new benefit. You don't know where you're going. Did I get a car? I didn't get a car. Okay, it is not glamorous. It is not glamorous. But you push yourself and push yourself and push yourself. And your body keeps saying, okay, all right, we'll meet you. We'll meet you that you're not eating right. You're not sleeping enough. You're smoking too much. You're not exercising. You're not doing any of your stuff, but no problem. We'll stay with you. We'll help you with this. Okay? Until your brain says, I'm done. I'm done. I got no more. I'm not doing it anymore. Okay? So what you will find happen is you will sit there and maybe stare out the window thinking, I know I need to do this. Yep. Yeah, I got to do this. Should get up right now and do this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I will. Yeah. And your body doesn't move. Okay? Because it's telling you, you pushed it too far. We've had enough. Now, for as much as we joke about this, I had a client who was traveling for work, pushing it, burning the candle at both ends. And she finally just had it, just collapsed. And I was working with her physician to try and get her short-term disability. And I explained this, and she said, that's exactly what she has, because then her immune system was compromised. So then she got a sinus infection and strep throat. And we knew yes, they're bacteria-based, germ-based, whatever, but we knew it was because she was so burned out and not taking care of herself. And the physician's like, give me this reference. I'm putting this in the report. We got to get her short-term disability. You're going to love this. You've all had this boss at one time or another. So her boss's response was, well, then while you're on short-term disability, can you do these reports? And I'm like, and this is why you developed this. So yeah, it's in, I have this in the references. Generalized adaptation syndrome. So your body keeps trying to adapt and adapt and adapt until it doesn't. Okay. I got to get up. I got to go do that. Okay, I will. I will. And this is not, just to be clear, this is not when you're laying in bed and the alarm is going off and you're snooze, snooze. No, no, you're up, you're awake, you're dressed, you've already started your day. And you just, yeah, okay. So let's look at some ways of dealing with stress. Before I get into this, everybody good so far? Everybody clear on where this is coming from, what it is, how it happens, what's going on?
Is there, but like, is it a pun? Aren't there a lot of gastrointestinal issues that come from chronic stress?
Yeah, I mean, that is called GAS. That is how it's referred to in the literature, but yes, very common because of the fight or flight. Oh, your question.
Yeah.
She said, is it a pun or are there really a lot of gastrointestinal difficulties that happen when someone's stressed? And yes, to both. It is known as gas, if you look it up, that's how it's known. But yes, because of the fight or flight response, there are a lot of stomach issues. People with a lot of anxiety also tend to have a lot of stomach issues. Attention type headaches, that's another one. I'm not sure about migraines. I'm not sure if those come under the heading, but one of the books that's in the resources has information on this from a class I taught called Stress and Health. Imagine that. Okay, so let's look at some ways to deal with stress. We're moving on now into the what can you do about it part. Okay, so this is a story that Dr. Swanson told us in stress management class in grad school. So the way the story goes, this group of friends goes to the beach for the day. And the one friend says, hey, you know what? I'm going to swim all the way out to that buoy. And his friends are like, I don't think that's such a good idea. You're not that strong of a swimmer. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Okay. He gets about halfway out there and says, yeah, this was not the best idea I've ever had. I'm in real trouble now. So he turns around and he starts waving frantically to his friends on shore to show that he's in trouble. And his friends all stand there and wave right back. Okay. So what we encourage to do, we call these not waving, but drowning signs. Learn yours. And if you think you don't have any, ask your significant other and they will tell you exactly. Because I used to work a lot with teenagers and I would ask them and they could name a few. And then the parents would say, oh, you isolate in your room. You are slower to answer us. You don't want to eat as much. You get way concerned with what your friends are doing. You don't take care of your height. I mean, they could just name them one after the other. What are your not waving but drowning signs? In other words, no, things are not okay. Things are not fine. What do you do when you're starting to get in? Do you sleep more? Do you sleep less? Do you watch more TV? What do you do when you're starting to get stressed? When you're starting to feel the crush of the stress? Okay, it's going to be different for everybody, but know what they are so that when you see them coming, you can say, okay, now I'm in trouble. Let's not get all the way out to the buoy. Let's stop here and say, okay, I got to start doing some of this stuff. Expectations. So, the old joke is if you lower your expectations enough, you'll never be disappointed, which is true. You could do that. But what you want to go for here is realistic expectations. And if you need the feedback from another person, maybe that's a good idea to say, hey, do you think it's realistic that this is what I'm expecting or that this is how I think this should go? Am I dreaming here? Is this too much to ask? Ask a trusted friend. Ask someone else to give you their feedback. I heard this podcast once, and it was about mistakes that are made in the medical profession, some minor, some very serious. And the doctor doing this was saying, so what would be the goal? And I'm thinking to myself, don't make any mistakes. That would be ideal from a patient's perspective. And he goes, no, the goal is to catch them when we do them, figure out how they happen, and then make a plan for not letting it happen again. We want to go for excellence, not perfection. So maybe when you're setting your expectations for things, identify what excellence would be, and then identify what perfection would be. If you figure out a way to get to perfection, contact me first. because I got a few things I want to go, okay, just saying, just we'll have that agreement, okay? Excellence, not perfection. Locus of control refers to the extent to which you believe you have control over the outcome of a situation. Generally speaking, so if you have an internal locus of control, that means you feel like you have a pretty good say in how things are going. If it's more of an external locus of control, that means you blame it on outside factors. So say we're talking about a student and they get a good grade on a test. Internal locus of control would be, I studied hard, I came to class, I reviewed my notes, I understood the material. External locus of control would be, well, this was really easy. Anybody could have gotten it. I didn't really have to, it wasn't really that great, okay? The more internal locus of control someone has, generally speaking, the lower their stress level because they feel like they can do something about it. Feeling helpless is stressful. That is an not pleasant feeling. So the more you feel like you have a say in how things are going, maybe you need to pick apart the situation and find one aspect of it that you can control. I can call different heating and cooling contractors until I find someone with half a brain who can come out and furnace. Okay, that if I just stomped my feet and said, this is not fair, I don't like this. Okay, then we're going to look at problem-focused versus emotion-focused ways of dealing with stressful situations. I have an exercise for you to do on this if we have time, but I really want to do the relaxation response, so we may not get to this, but I'm going to tell you how to do it. You can do it on your own. Okay, so when you take a problem-focused way of looking at stress and how to deal with stress, you're looking at factual, black and white, plain, straight up information. Anybody can walk up and give you this information. And I'll give you an example. If you're taking an emotion-focused approach, only you can do this. This is, why does it bother you? How does it bother you? What is this really triggering in you? Only you can do emotion-focused, okay? So say a couple has been going out for a long time and they break up, okay? Problem-focused way of dealing with this is, okay, I'm going to say they live together. I'm going to have to find a place to live, got to get all the utilities set up, put the deposit down, get friends to help me move, pick a moving date. Those are the facts. Anyone can walk up and tell you how to do that. The emotion-focused part of it is, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen again? Am I ever going to find someone? Why can't I make a relationship last? Okay, so you're the only one who can do emotion. You're the only one who can answer those questions. But this is why, in case you ever have this situation, this is why if you have a problem and a friend is trying to help you with it, inevitably, unless they know you really, really well, they're going to go with problem focused and think they're giving you great information, which they are. But to you, it's going to feel very surface level. It's going to be like, yeah, I know that's all true, but that didn't really get to the, that's because you need emotion focused. Okay. I would say the exception to that would be a therapist. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, figure out what the emotions thing would be. Okay, so let's do one exercise very quickly. Okay, this is a mindfulness exercise. See, just like it says on the board, a mindfulness exercise. Okay. This is the quick one, Lacey. We don't necessarily need to close the door for this one. I mean, you could if you want to, but this is a real quick one. Okay, so please silence your phone or turn it off if you haven't already, only because you're going to be really, really concentrating on what you're doing. And if a phone goes off, it will seem very annoying. You will want to throw a lot of paper at the person. We're going to keep it PG violence here. Okay, all right. So this is a mindfulness exercise. You're going to do it once and you'll be able to do, because I heard it once at a workshop 10 years ago, and I could do it. Okay. So close your eyes. It's easier to do if you close your eyes. and I'm only looking at my phone, so I have a timer. I want you to think about everything that's going on inside your body, inside your mind. Think about your breathing. Think about your heartbeat. Focus on what's happening inside your body, inside your mind. Okay. Now go outside. Think about what's happening in the room around you. Sun coming in through the windows, the air you're breathing, the people sitting next to you. Now go back inside. Think about what's happening inside your head, inside your body. And now go outside again. What's happening around you, in the room. Okay, so now open your eyes. Okay, that took about a minute and a half. But see how you were able to do that? You were able to change your focus from one thing to another, back and forth. Okay, you can do that. So next time you've got some very stressful thoughts or very stressful situations, try that. It's very centering. It's very, wow, look how much control I have. Wonder what else I can do. Okay. So that you can repeat inside, outside, inside, outside. Okay. Go back and forth as many times as you need to. Okay. Now this next one is a little longer. So that was the one I said if we have time. And I don't think we have time. So we are going to do what is known as the relaxation response. And this one's going to take a little bit longer. Can we go right till 1 o'clock? Okay. All right. So again, please make sure your phone is turned off. Okay. So during this exercise, this is one of the things I'm going to have you do. So just try it right now so you know when I say you can just go do it. So clench your fists as tight as you can. So you really, really feel it. Really, really tight fist. Okay, so now let go. And then go partially tense, so not quite as tight. And then let it go. And now just the first sign of tension. As soon as you feel that tension, okay, and then let it go. So that's something we're going to incorporate into this exercise, but that's also a good thing to be familiar with so you can feel when you're starting to get tense. Okay, remember, brain is part of the body. Brain says, oh, we got a problem. Muscles go, oh, we're going to clench it. Okay, so that is so you can tell that you're starting to get tense. So we will start with a deep breathing exercise. We're going to go through muscle relaxation, head to toe, actually toe to head. We will go through a guided imagery exercise. So while we're doing this, I want you to think of a goal that you're working on or something that you have been dealing with. Okay. So I once had a client who was an actor, had a big audition coming up. He thought about that. I had a client who was a pilot coming up for his licensing exam. And I learned something from a pilot. If you fly a lot, this will, yeah. Any landing you walk away from is a good landing. I'm like, wow, it's beautiful. Because we were talking about something and I'm like, oh, so that wasn't, he's like, any landing you walk away from is a good landing. Okay. I learned so much from And then we get to the jail stories. We don't have time. Okay. Guided imagery. Think of a goal you're working on, something you do. No. Okay. I'll ask you to picture yourself achieving it. I will ask you to think of a word or phrase that will remind you of that deeply relaxed state that you will be at that point. And then I'll notify you when it's time to come back up. Okay. I will count. I will say, okay, now we're going to come back up. And I will count slowly from 5 to 1. And when I hit 1, you can open your eyes. All right. Everybody comes up at a different rate. Some people will pop their eyes open and be fully alert and in the room. And other people will be like, ah, okay. But this is known as the relaxation response. This is the one the teenager with cancer recorded. And you hear it once, you can do it. I mean, it's serious. It's like, it's not. But if you want to record it, record it. Okay, so you are going to close your eyes. And then we are going to do, and I'm just looking at my timer here, so I give you enough time to do this. I want you to take a deep breath in to the count of 5. And then exhale to the count of 5. Inhale and exhale. This is inhale. This is nice, slow breathing. Exhale. Consciously slowing your heart rate down. Inhale. Counteracting. Exhale. Counteracting fight or flight. Okay, so you're going to continue that 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Okay, so you're going to keep doing that with the deep breathing, and we're going to start on the muscle tension. So we're going to start with your feet. To the extent that you can, crunch your feet up. You're probably wearing shoes, so you can't really crunch them up, but as much as you can, crunch them up. Release them. Go up to your calves and tense them. Release. Move up to your upper thighs, quadriceps. Tense them. Release. And you're still deep breathing. You're still relaxing. Go up to your abdomen. Pull your stomach in. Feel the tension as you're pulling it in. And release. And we're going to move up to the shoulders and hunch your shoulders up as high as you can. Picture that you're touching your ears. And then release. And let's do shoulders again, because that's a pretty common area for people to hold tension. Pull them up. Feel the tension across your back, across your neck. And then release them. Now move up to your face. Scrunch up your face. Scrunch your eyes. Pouty mouth. Pull your ears back. Get as much tension as you can in the muscles of your face. And then release that. Still deep breathing. You're feeling the tension just flow out of your body. And so now we're going to tense the whole body. So your feet, ankles, calves, quadriceps, abdomen, shoulders, face, everything is tense. Everything is tight. And then release it. And you're feeling all the tension leaving your body. Still deep breathing. Now you're going to make a fist as tight as you can. And feel the tension in your hands and your wrists. And then release it. Just until you feel the first sign of tension. And then release it. And you're still deep breathing. And you're feeling no tension in your body. So now picture that you are in a store and you walk up to the escalator. On the floor that you're on in the store, it's loud. It's very, very bright. There's people everywhere. Kids are running around. Music is really loud. It's just chaotic. So you go to the escalator and you go down one floor. As you see that other floor approaching, you can see that it's not quite as bright. It's not as loud, but it's still a little bit too much. So you go down one more floor. When you get to that third landing, you decide to get off the escalator. Now you're walking along. It's lit enough that you can see things, but it's not too bright. There's music playing, but it's not too loud. There's some people walking around, but not too many. And you are just very, very relaxed, very calm. So now picture the goal that you identified. Picture yourself being successful at this goal. Very calm. Picturing yourself doing this thing. So now think of a word or a phrase that will remind you of this peaceful feeling. You know that you can come back to this feeling at any time. The tension is out of your body. Deeply relaxed. Recreate this feeling whenever you want. Now we're slowly going to come back up. Count from 5 to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready? You can slowly open your eyes. Stretch. Come back into the room. Okay, everybody back? Okay. And you can do, you've heard it once, you can recreate it. Deep breathing, head to toe relaxation, tense and relax, going down the escalator, picturing the goal. So there was always a rumor going around that and Dr. Swanson did not do this, but in a stress management class, this is the final exam, that he would do that and then drop a book. And if you flinched, you did not pass the class. Got to pass them, right? All right, questions? How would you distinguish that from meditation? I'd say, first of all, I can't do meditation. So I think meditation, well, my understanding of it is that you're being very mindful and you're centering and you're getting inside yourself. So maybe in many ways it is meditation, but isn't meditation supposed to be that you're thinking about a certain thing or no? Oh, maybe it is. Usually students would ask, how is this different from hypnosis? And that is not hypnosis. I'm not qualified to do hypnosis. So that is not, it's relaxation, but I don't know what the difference is between that and like what the difference between that relaxation and the relaxation of hypnosis. That I am not. Sorry. Yes.
Does visualization of goals have other homes in your psychotherapy work? Is that something that is proven?
Oh, we did tons of things on goals, tons. This is one way, but I'm a visual learner, so we would do different pictures. We would do, with words, we do columns and, okay, move this over here. And yeah, we would do all kinds of, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but we would do all kinds of stuff with goals and setting goals and
just confirming visualization from the field of expertise.
Yeah.
I don't know what that question.
Oh, you wanna, you have one? Okay.
I had just asked if visualization was, a tool that was used in other places in the practice of psychotherapy, or if it was just kind of vetted by the field. The answer
Yeah,
is
you're
yes.
far more likely to reach a goal that you can really picture, which is why we do SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, related time frame. The more specific you can get in a goal, the more likely you are to reach it. Because if you don't know where you're going, how do you get there? Other questions? I think everyone is so relaxed there. You want to sit for a minute before you get up to me? Okay. So I'd be more than happy to send this out to anybody if they need it. You can contact me, Sharon Gilbert 222 at Gmail. This is the book that I used for the stress and health class. This is the GAS, that's stress management. And then this is the book I would recommend if you think you are dealing with anxiety and want to learn more about it. This is really, really good. Really good. Yes, Elton.
Think about how stressful college life free.
Mhm.
Hey, here we got a college in town. Do you see yourself offering your skills to have a session with incoming students who are going to face a lot of stress?
I'd love to. Elton is asking if I could see myself working with students at the college in town. I have contacted them several times, but my good friend Lacey said, go to the department head, don't mess with HR. You know how HR people are. I used to work in HR. So go directly to the department head. But yes, I was telling her as I was putting this together, I realized how much I really miss teaching. I don't miss therapy so much, but I really miss teaching. So yeah, this is good. Schools are getting more and more, I'm going to go off on a sidetrack, knowledgeable about the stress that students are undergoing. Orientation used to be a couple hours, maybe an afternoon, before school started. Now it's a full week. As professors, we would get all kinds of early warning tools to use. We were taught, and I thought, okay, I am a therapist, so that's fine for me. But what about like a history professor, math professor? They don't know what, but everybody was supposed to notice all these things going on with students. And sadly enough, after every school shooting, there would be more demands about, oh, you should see this, and you should know this, and you should see this coming. And so, yeah, they are getting more and more aware of the stress that students are under and letting them know what help exists. And yeah. Other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. You have been a very good audience.